Welcome back, dear friends, to yet another episode of HomeoMitra Vartaalap. This is part two of the ongoing series with Dr. Nikunj Jani. In this episode, we are going to discuss with him about a very untouched yet crucial and critical topic, which is scientific writing in homeopathy. Sir, welcome once again.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure always to talk with you.
So, sir, I always used to wonder as to how come a teacher of repertory and a clinician enter the domain of scientific writing, something which always intrigued me.
Intrigues me also, Kevin, that how did you actually start this? And as I said earlier, as well, in my earlier discussion talk which we had, it's the institutions which allow you to discover something which you have got, and they give you a platform to perform, and an opportunity to develop your skills which probably existed or were there within you and you were not aware of it. So actually, the journey starts long back. I think when you start your practice, and these are the early days of practice, and sometimes you just wonder what you are supposed to do, because the patients will come at their own pace. You are just a new teacher who's just started teaching. So you start something which keeps you motivating, and I found that I was to always read journals. That was always the case, but you should start contributing. The primary focus of mine was, I'd visited a very senior psychiatrist just for some other work, and I had seen his clinic, and his clinic was full of his articles which were there, and they were present there, and these books were being sold, and I was like, wow, this is something which it really caught my fancy, and so I said, fine. I just took it up that let's contribute some case reports which you have probably treated, and I sent it to a journal. Really not knowing much of writing a case report, I just saw the journal, how the cases are written in that, and I sent the case report. And to my surprise, the editor got back to me, and some changes, and it was published. That was my first case report, which was there, and I put it very proudly on my clinic notice board that that's the whole purpose that I wanted to write, and that's how that led to the another, and that kept on going. And because somebody saw some case report, a patient invited me to write for lay magazine, where for the elderly, which was there, and they said, why don't you write? Do you only write technical? I was not aware of what is scientific writing or anything at that point of time. Like, you have to write for common public because this is going to be a health magazine. I'm like, fine, let's go ahead with that as well. So that started also the series of articles in lay magazines which were there, health related magazines. And I think then when this was going on, nothing very significant or which was there, till one fine day the institute decides that we are going to launch our own journal. And I was called in, and I was said, you are going to be the one who's going to be the in charge, or you're going to look after the journal. And it is surprising at times, sometimes the organization has faith in you and you yourself do not have any faith. And I was like, I really don't know much about it. And the first meeting when we had with our publishers, there were too much of technical terms which were being used. I was at sea, honestly. That, look, I mean, you're going to start a journal. You really need to be equipped yourself to how you're going to actually shape a journal, or you're going to be the editor of it. And that's when my journey of learning scientific writing in India online from international teachers started. And that's how, because had the organization not given me an opportunity, probably I would just be writing in my own pace. So that's how a teacher and a clinician comes into the field of writing, and you sit on the chair of the editor. That's the journey which is there.
So, sir, it was not just scientific writing, it was something very informal, which eventually led into full-time work as the head of JISH.
Yeah, it is that way. All of us start as practitioners. And I think we are all trained. As I said earlier, we are not trained to be a teacher, or we are not trained to be a editor of a journal, or we are not trained to be people who will start writing articles. Of course, the statutory needs were always there. For a teacher, that certain amount of publications need to be done. But then it would not be taken so seriously, which it is now, And so Yeah, I mean, we all start very informally. You read and then you start seeing, oh, this is how it is written, and trial and error. Thankfully, I had a lot of people in our organization who were there to guide me in the process. And I think Dr. Kumar Davle himself has been the pillar for all the activities of the organization. And he was the one who would encourage us to take up newer and newer roles. So he was always there to guide us. So that is, that you have a institute is also is going to support you. And then you need to then keep learning. And today, in the age of internet, all you need is a computer and a desire to learn. I only feel that, just you want to learn, you can learn whatever you want to learn. So I think that's how everyone starts, from informal to formal.
Truly inspiring. And well, I have my own journey, which I will share some day or the other. But in the meantime, I want all of you to mention in the comment, where did life's journey take you from one profession to the other, or managing multiple professions in one lifetime. Do mention that in the comments. Sir, going to the next question, what should the student and practitioner do in order to become a researcher and or a scientific contributor? Is it an inclination, or is it just a matter of practice?
It is just a matter of practice. And I'll tell you, every homeopath has at least got one case which he can tell the whole world. Every homeopath. You are a student, you may have seen a case. You are a practitioner, must have seen multiple cases. There will be one case which you surely feel that this needs to be shared to the world. But the only problem is that we don't write, or we don't share it with the world in a scientific way. And that's where, sometimes it's our own inhibitions also. That what is the use of me writing it? Why am I going to write? What difference is it going to make? But, trust me, when people read and when the articles get published, there are a lot of practitioners also who send you an emails. There are newer people who connect with you. There are patients who nowadays search the doctor's publications. I remember, I'll tell you, one of our friends was searching for a doctor for a condition in a country abroad. And he sent me a short list of 3 names of physicians. And he said, look, these 3 are very senior persons for my family member whom I'm going to consult. This guy looks good because he has got 45 publications. This guy has got 80 publications. And this guy is the boss of the unit, head of department, which over 100 publications. I think I'm going to go with the 100 publications for a person because he's expert in this field. He has written so much. Now, this is somebody who has been an academic all his life. So he knows the value of publications. And he says, no, this is the guy whom I'm going to trust my family member with. So our patients are also going to search us. They, in the Google, obviously everyone reads Google reviews. They go to the social media and check. So they also check your credentials because see, social media can be manufactured. But a publication is a genuine, it's a genuine thing where you cannot pay money and get yourself an article or, things done. So it is where the credibility is very strong of the physician. And if you have publications to your list, and trust me, you put it on your profile, people really value that. And that as a clinician is very important for us, that it adds credibility to our work, which we have been doing so far.
That example which you gave was quite interesting and rather, thought-provoking, that if a patient is searching for a particular specialist, and if the patient is having certain faith in, number of publications that the specialist has, and if that is what eventually gets you the patient, and that is something really worth pondering upon. You may write, you may not write, but yeah, give it a thought, I guess, those who are watching this. So, sir, then my next question would be, now that you have given so much emphasis to scientific writing, has scientific writing changed the attitude of the scientific community towards homeopathy? Because whenever I see in 2015, I think I entered this domain of social media. And all I recall is when I used to search homeopathy, I would get only negative publications of homeopathy. When I say negative publication, it was not a scientific paper. Those were news articles. Somewhere down the line in ranking were scientific papers which would say that the efficacy is questionable. The impact is not significant. So has it changed over a period of time?
Basic care, it's very important that, as I said, research is happening. Individual people, practitioners are also conducting research, but it will be a more of a collaborative effort. Institutions are doing research. They're doing it very well. Now, what a practitioner does is, we tend to usually think that, oh, I'm just going to go to my clinic and I'm not going to do research. But research is not just limiting yourself to doing research in the per se proper research. It is doing something new. If in your clinic, you start discovering that, look, I am getting elderly in my clinic, and by no reason, you've never thought of it, but you start getting it, or I'm getting only skin conditions in my clinic. You need to then go and check your records that what all kind of cases which I'm getting, what is it that I'm doing, what is the results, and that turns out to be a scientific research in your own clinical setups. So, if somebody says that when these case reports get published, or these papers get go out in the public, there will be a lot of people who might ridicule about it, but then there is a significant number of people who will also say, "Okay, no, this is genuine," provided they are written in a scientific format. Otherwise, people are not going to read it. See, any science has its own set of guidelines when you publish. So, if a case report is written by a practitioner in that standard guidelines, which are followed by internationally by all the medical specialties, there is no reason why they will not accept that this case is not cured. So that brings the credibility. And of course, now you see more and more research being published. There are quality of journals which are coming up in homeopathy. So a lot of the data is being now published. And this is a clear answer to a lot of skeptics who feel that no, homeopathy is nothing but hogwash. So yes, it's the easiest way to counter a claim. And if history of medicine, if you look at it, Dr. Bonnie-Rosen there were allegations that why should he be allowed to practice, because he was not conventionally trained into homeopathy. He had learned it, and then eventually he was given the permission by the king to practice. So what Bonnie-Rosen did was, and it's very interesting, what he did was in the city town hall, he kept his records for public display. And he said, you read, you go through my records, and you decide whether I'm fit to practice. Now, this is where the honesty comes in. And this is what we also need to do. We have treated these cases. Let the scientific community come and scrutinize our cases. Let them go through them. And then you decide whether homeopathy is acting or not acting. So, that's the easiest way. Rather than we shouting at the top of our voices that no, homeopathy is effective, let us publish and then, then talk that, look, this is the data. Now say homeopathy is acting and why it is not acting. So, let's talk with evidence. And we live in a data-driven world. So, talking on the top of your voices or shouting from rooftops and giving emotional knee-jerk reactions don't go well with people. You need to give them concrete data and evidence that homeopathy is acting. So, and if that done, people will not refute it.
I think a beautiful song I remember, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. So यहाँ they will say this side also and that side also. But eventually they will say it is not that they will blindly say that okay, this does not work. There is no scientific basis for homeopathy. And the second thing that now I recall is when you gave Bonnie-Rosen's example is when Dr. Hahnemann said, I am not sure, please, if anyone is recalling that quote, that Organon reference, where Dr. Hahnemann says that what I am doing, you don't follow blindly. Test it for yourself. If you find it useful or, if it replicates itself, then you believe it. As someone who is into social media and now eventually I'm trying to build up my own audience and build up my own social media presence, I would like to know what has the journey of JISH been like? Right from conceptualizing it about, what is JISH going to be, what what kind of work is going to be put in to maintaining it and now eventually growing it. What has the challenge been like, and where do you see JISH somewhere down the line, maybe 5 years, 10 years from now?
See, I'll tell you, if there is any journal faces a lot of challenge, and we're living in a world where the reading habit is shrinking. You see more and more people glued to their phones, and reading is becoming a last priority for most of the people. At one point of time, even newspapers came in every house. I think post-COVID, we might see a decline in that also, that people have stopped even buying a newspaper. So overall, the reading scenario is not that great, and you cannot blame anyone because that's the world in which we live in. And in that, for a student or a practitioner, they really don't find the time to go beyond their curriculum to open up a journal and read something in that. And that's the real challenge as well. And I don't blame the student because they have their exams, they have their assessments, they need to pass. So, somebody who's only interested will go and do that. Or for even a busy practitioner, somebody who's seeing patients and at the end of the day is left with no stamina, that no, I mean, to read something more becomes a tall task. So a journal in that, and like we've been removing in the last 6 months, we also saw the pandemic in between. And we are not a print journal as well. We are an e-journal. So that is got its own set of challenges as well. And then to get, it starts right from planning of what is going to go into an issue. How is it? You need all set of articles. You need a research article. You would need a review article. You would need case reports. You would need contributions from across the world. Thankfully, JISH is blessed with an extremely, I would say, diverse and a very, very experienced editorial board. I mean, we have the editorial board and the editorial advisory board of JISH is got some stalwarts of homeopathy who are there on the editorial advisory board of the journal, and their guidance is always available to us. So we can always go back to their experience, and if there is an issue, we can seek them as well. So the editorial board is blessed to have mentors in that sense who support us to run the journal. But then the logistics, then getting the case reports, and first is training your own self. It started from us. खुद को पहले, ICR, our prayer is खुद की जय करे. And first thing which we do is you need to develop your own self. You need to equip your own self so that you are able to make sense of the data which is coming to you. And you cannot not do that. So it's a constant learning for us, learning in the technicalities. Publication is it's a huge field. In fact, when I was searching, as I was reading, Harvard Medical School offers a 9-month or 1-year diploma in medical writing. The fee is astronomical when it comes to a 6 hybrid model, which is there of a 9-month certificate program. It's not even a diploma, it's a certificate program. But then you've got the best people coming and training you. So yeah, it's a career in itself. Somebody who is aspiring to make a career, the world is the limit. You can go and train from the best institutions, which only train you in medical writing, not the other technical writing as well. So yeah, it's there is new to learn. You need to upgrade. There is indexing, the agencies which you get into, the indexing agencies. Now JISH is a part of Embase. Now Embase is something which is we recently got indexed in Embase after 6 years of publication. And Embase is something which the National Medical Council gives a minimum criteria for qualifying as a medical journal. So, it doesn't happen overnight. So every journal will have to go through its cycles. You cannot apply for Scopus till you have certain amount of publications. So you cannot go into PubMed beyond till you don't have certain years of publications. So yeah, it's a long journey. You have to vision out for a decade at least if you want to get into the name or the call yourself a good journal. And it is you need to meet people, get articles, be ready to it. So it's a team effort. One person cannot do it. It's humanly impossible to think that a person will do it. So there is a big team behind JISH which supports JISH. I just stand as one of their representatives here. So nonetheless, all of us together are making this journal and we are running it. So, and the organization supports it because it comes with its own costs as well. It's not cheap to publish and you don't get subscribers. So, a quality journal needs a lot of subscribers, but then people don't want to pay. Like, why should I pay? Typically, that what is it that I'm going to gain by subscribing a journal? So these are issues which are there, and somebody would buy a Netflix monthly pack, but they would not subscribe to a journal, and this is the reality of life which we have to face. And so that's the truth. So the challenges are multiple, but yeah, I think the work keeps you going.
Sir, if I may just add to simplify it for the audience, that when a paper is getting published on a website, the cost is right from paying to the web developer to ensuring that it stays on that website for a very long period of time. The server cost is also involved, the website maintenance cost is involved.
See, when you run a journal, the organization runs it because they feel the need to bring out scientific homeopathy to the world. And I think when the institute got into this, we didn't do it as a commercial venture. We still don't see it as a commercial venture at all. It's a purely giving back to the profession, where the MLAA Memorial Organizations has a long legacy, like 100 years plus legacy, which is there. And we've always been into the zone of publications. So this is one of the reasons why we need to give back to the profession. What knowledge we have accumulated, we would like to share. And we want others also to join us in sharing the knowledge and, imparting the knowledge. Yeah, but everything comes with a cost. I know there's always a saying, all good things in life come with a price tag. So the more better publisher you find, it will come with its own costs. The more better user interface you come up with, advancements like QR codes, everything comes with a cost, and it's quite a huge number, honestly. So yes, that is something which one has to really strike a balance to. Every page you pay for when you publish. So we don't charge any money from the authors who submit whose cases get selected. There are journals, of course, there are high quality journals also which charge an article processing fee. Some of the journals, it runs into thousands of dollars. So it's that, because their costs are much higher than ours as well. So yes, it's a pure passion which keeps you going, and you want to do this.
I guess it's not wrong in asking dear homeopaths. So I'm going to ask this from my side, sir, that if you can, please subscribe to JISH and support the journal which actually helps to bring homeopathy in front of the scientific world. Just to put it simply, that if you are able to solve even one case in your practice from one of the published cases or research from a scientific journal, it will make world of a difference for your practice. You never know what kind of impact it will cause. So yes, please do subscribe to JISH.
I think here what you said is so right, that if a journal, if I read today, and I have learned something from a journal, and I remember doing this because there was a Parkinson issue by the National Journal of Homeopathy, NJH. They had come out with a Parkinson special issue. It's a brilliant issue, honestly. Mishpala Madam ran a fantastic journal, and in NJH, that issue helped me really look into Parkinsonism from a clinician perspective, from a practitioner point of view, where multiple people's experiences were only about one clinical condition, and multiple potency scales were used in that. A lot of people had experiences with LM potency. A lot had talked about certain set of medicines. A way of approach is given in that issue, and that made me apply it in my own cases, in my own practice. And I saw results thankfully to the journal. You started using the scale more often. I started using LM potencies more frequently in Parkinsonism. And that led to more patients coming to you with the same clinical condition. And all thanks to a journal issue, which you read it just while in a commute, during your commuting. And it made a difference to your entire clinical practice. So, and I'm sure most of the practitioners may have had this kind of experience. You read something, or you even hear. I think reading is not just limited to the journal now. It's also becoming social media or platforms like yours, where there is a lot of people from different areas of homeopathy who come and talk their own experiences. And this is also becoming a very valid continued medical education for people from the comforts of their own houses. So yeah, I mean, it's very, very important that we keep learning something, we apply it back. So, the journal subscription is just cost of 2 Starbucks coffees.
So sir, with this, where do you see homeopathy in the scientific arena in the future?
See, scientific writing in homeopathy is here to stay. And thankfully, now with the revised curriculum by the National Commission of Homeopathy, they have done a brilliant, commendable addition to it. Is there will be a new module on scientific writing, which is going to be a compulsory module at the PG level, which all of them have to appear and pass. And that is, I think, a very, very good move, because moment you are trained in scientific writing right at your postgraduate level, and that practitioner is going to learn something in a very structured way, and you're going to read it, you're going to, because you're going to apply for a module for that, that is going to make a sea of change. And now with the CCRH also coming up with the short-term projects which are there at the UG level as well, and you are seeing so many students at the undergraduate levels winning the STP, the short-term research projects, and their teachers helping them. And all colleges are participating in that. So it's an amazing move that now uh, when I would look back at my years in UG, there was very few things which were there at a formally. Informally, there would be a lot of things, but formally now there are a lot of the research attitude is being inculcated in the homeopaths right from first BHMS, and then this keeps on growing till you go to your PG, where you will now have a trained in scientific writing, and then probably people who will pursue the doctorates, obviously they will get into full blown research. But yes, even a practitioner will be trained to read research, to understand it, and then to apply it in their own practices. So this is a sea of change which we are now seeing, and this is we should all welcome it. I think it's a great move by the government agencies and the bodies which are really doing this.
So it has now become part of mainstream education. Interesting. So, sir, with this, we'll conclude our second part. It's kind of a bittersweet feeling, because we are waiting for you to come for one of the future episodes of HomeoMitra Vartaalap. But before that, what kind of take-home message would you want the homeopathy community to take away from this entire session?
See, I just, as all practitioners and students of homeopathy, I think the take-home message is identify one case in your practice. Go through any journal which you are able to lay your hands on, read them, and try and write that case as per the format of that journal and send it to the journal. We need to let go of our inhibitions. Let our knowledge, which is there in our clinics, come out, and let's share with the world. Let's be open and communicate with the world what good we have been doing in our own clinics. I think that's an honest appeal. I mean, you may select JISH, you may select all the other journals which are available. At the end of the day, it is homeopathy which wins, and not one journal or the another journal. So let's do it for homeopathy.
Yes, sir, for homeopathy. And before we sign off, JISH is on social media. They have their own website. And on social media, they are available on LinkedIn. They are available on Facebook. From the Instagram side, you will be able to see updates of JISH on the MLDMHI Instagram platform. And obviously, you are going to follow Dr. Nikunj Jani now, because the wealth of knowledge that he has shared, he is also very active on LinkedIn. Do follow him. And yes, you will get to learn a lot from him. Thank you once again, Nikunj sir.
Yeah, I think Keyur has helped us. I think over the year we had made series of videos on understanding the basic concepts of scientific writing. Dr. Keyur was one of the persons who had actually conceptualized those videos and helped us created that. So it's those videos are there on our YouTube channel. Anyone who wants to understand what is basics of scientific writing, these are 4-minute coffee videos. Just go and visit them on the YouTube channel of our journal, and you will just the videos are self-explanatory. They're very simple videos, and anyone wanting to learn more can go ahead and watch them as well.
Certainly, sir. We'll leave the link of all the social media handles in the description and in the comments. So, like I said, sir, thank you once again. Great having you on HomeoMitra Vartaalap, and I'm sure we will meet again in the future episodes of Vartaalap with newer and different topics.
Thank you, Kevin. The pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.